And hello, everyone. Take two of the very first episode of the Gothic fucking Graveyard. We already did this, a great half-hour episode. We uploaded it. And what happens is the Reverend Peter dropped the fucking ball.
You fucked up.
I basically fucked up, guys, and and we did not capture any of Caroline's audio. But I digress. Let's roll this back. Welcome to the very first episode of the Gothic Graveyard, everyone. I am one of your hosts, the Gothic Wizard, aka Reverend Peter. I am with the enigmatic, the amazing, the carnivorous, the macabre Caroline Carnivorous. Caroline, hello. Now, this episode is this is more just an introduction, a taste, if you will, a sample, a little hors d'oeuvre, perhaps, of what we're going to offer with this show. We've already already off the fucking railroad tracks at this point, but anyway, just bear with us. We're going to talk a little bit about our backgrounds, talk about us a little bit, how we got into goth and the esoteric and paganism, goth and then address what we're going to do with this channel, where we want to bring this channel, the topics we want to bring to you, the audience, to inform and entertain. And then how to contact us and get your feedback, which is very important to us because we truly believe interaction with the audience is key. So, of course, being the gentleman that I am, Miss Carnivorous, you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, how you got into goth, paganism, and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm Caroline, 22, from Norway, and I've been into goth for, I want to say, about 5 years, because that's when I really got into the music. Before that, I was basically listening to the hardest and darkest metal, and that was all I was obsessed about. And I grew up with horror films and spooky stuff, and I've loved reading and such since I was a child, but I think it was around 17, 18 years of age that I really got into goth, and I went to Gothic Treffen for the first time. So that's kind of my official, that's where I started. And as for being a Wiccan, that goes way back. When I was a kid, I loved reading about ancient mythologies and learning about those, and I found it so fascinating. I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Oh.
And then,
as did I when I was in high school, actually.
Yeah, and then at around 14, I think, I discovered the religion of Wicca, and it just made sense to me, because before that, they taught Christianity at school when I was a kid, and I just thought that made no sense. But this did, so I kind of embraced it from there, and yeah. I think that's it.
Nice. As for myself, I just kind of naturally started dressing what ultimately would become known as corporate goth in starting about the mid-90s. As I mentioned before, on our first take, I kind of did the reverse of goth, as you mentioned you did as well a little bit, where I got into the fashion first and then got into the music and all the other aspects very organically. I didn't even realize I was kind of corporate goth, if you will, until later on. I just was attracted to the aesthetic of that particular style.
Don't realize until we find other people and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I started more and more. My clothes were getting black and dark reds and dark teals and dark purples. And and just dressing more and more like that, and then Typo Negative, an American goth rock band, became very, very popular, and I heard them being played on the radio. They had a string of their song, one of the most popular songs, "Christian Woman," from their album "Bloody Kisses." Yes, I know that's apparently we're like that. We have this affinity for that album. For about 3 months straight, it was being voted every weekend by the listeners. At the time, you could call in and vote for, what song you wanted in the top 10 for the weekend. And for about 3 months straight, it was getting voted number one, number one, number one, for about 3 months straight. Yeah, and that's how. And I was listening to this. I was like, wow, this is a really cool, interesting song. When you're used to the top 40 of pop and R&B and rap and dance, and then you hear, a real Gothic band like that, it kind of shocks you. It's like, wow, it makes you take notice. And so then I went out, I bought the album, Bloody Kisses, heard the whole thing, and I was like, wow. And then I was like, okay, this goth genre of music is amazing. And so then I started backpedaling and started getting into, Bajas and Sisters of Mercy and all the more traditional first generation goth bands. And then from there, it just kind of took off. And so then I was dressing goth, I was listening to goth. I've always had an affinity for the late Victorian era. So the macabre was always kind of the dark, mysterious macabre things. And then, like I mentioned before, I woke up one day and I realized I'm fucking goth, I guess. I hit all the checkboxes. So, and so it was a very organic process for me. And as for paganism, in about 2000, when I was well into my corporate goth, phase and music phase and such, I just, like you, Christianity wasn't doing it for me anymore. I was kind of non-religious. I was spiritual. I just wasn't particularly part of any particular religion at that point, just generally spiritual. And I had a bit of an epiphany. I went to Salem, Massachusetts, which is basically the witch capital of the East Coast of the United States. And I went there on Halloween or Samhain, and so around 100,000 people go there that particular day to party. It's a huge street party. It's just totally, it's really crazy. Everyone's dressed up. It's just a huge street party. It's really amazing. And I happened to stumble upon these three witches in these cloaks around this smoldering cauldron, just doing their little thing. And I just stood there, watched them entranced. And I was just felt inspired by that. And the next day I got up, I went back to Salem, bought some of my first 101 books, on Wicca. And I mean, I had known of Wicca previously. I just never studied it. And this was that tipping point where I felt the need to get involved with it. And and then I've been studying ever since about 2000, and that's how I got into tarot and other aspects, like I'm sure you've gotten involved with as well. Many branches of paganism and Wicca, and there's all sorts of aspects. So became a professional tarot reader, historic ghost tour guide. I got trained as a professional paranormal investigator by folks that are associated with TAPS, the people who do the Ghost Hunters TV show here in America. So I just, the whole paranormal occulty things, I studied for years. So then that's kind of me in a nutshell. So I've done a lot on this, and I also own my own Victorian Gothic styled witch store in Salem as well for a while. So before my business partner and I went our separate ways. So I kind of, This literally was kind of how I dressed almost every day to go to quote unquote work when I lived and worked in Salem and owned my own store. This was pretty typical dress for me, and I really loved it. I mean, I still dress like this as much as I can. This is I'm obviously dressing a little up, a notch or two above normal. Obviously, my day to day is more corporate goth, obviously. But what's that?
I'm dressing down. My t-shirt is falling off.
That is okay for this show. We are okay. Yes, we're okay with the top. That's okay. In fact, I'm holding up my beer bottle. I salute you. Good. So, oh, by the way, this episode brought to you by Sammy Adams. Okay, not really, but
Please sponsor us.
yeah, please, Jim Koch, who owns fucking Sammy Adams, please. I drink enough of you. You should fucking sponsor me. I drink enough of it. I drink enough of your nice, yummy beer. Yeah, please, come on, Jim. Call me. So, yeah, they should. I feel in my gut he should. That's all I'm saying. Guys. That's all I'm saying. So, oh, and by the way, for anyone who's asking, who's over my shoulder over here, that's Dimitri. Vlad and Dimitri are brothers. That's Dimitri there. Vlad's off camera right now. But don't be laughing at Dimitri. Dimitri's very sensitive. He's a lover. Don't be. What I am gonna on this channel, I am gonna be having my own personal vlog, and Dimitri and Vladimir are going to be on it. It's going to be Reverend Peter and the Baby Bats, and they're the Baby Bats. So, but that's another topic for another. You'll see when I start doing that. You guys will see that. But anyway, so we got a lot of plans for this channel. So, so now we talked about ourselves. Caroline, what are the things you want to bring to this channel? What are the topics, subjects, the things you want to address to the channel, to the viewers, and to the goth and pagan community?
Well, I guess we kind of agree on most things. Like, if people don't know, we met on this app called Amino in this Gothic community, and we connected through, like, more mutual interests in there. And I'm a curator on there, and I see a lot of young people who try to explore goth, or I don't know if they even explore goth, but mainly is what I want to do is to tell them that they're wrong. Because I see just so many misconceptions and stuff, and it's such a shame, like, that people who are in the same community as we are just don't get it. And that's kind of weird to me. So I just want to tell them what's right.
And let's don't be humble. You are kind of a big deal in this Amino goth community. You're kind of a big fucking deal. You got like a bazillion followers. You're a curator, which is basically she's on staff. So you kind of don't be humble. Tell the viewers. Say, yeah, Reverend Peter, I'm a pretty big fucking deal. You can say that. It's okay. Well,
yeah, people look up to me. That's at least what happens in there. So I just want to use that opportunity to, teach them stuff and tell them that their misconceptions are wrong, basically.
Yes. And that's not to cut you off, but that's a great topic, and we definitely are that's going to be an ongoing theme, I'm sure, because there is a lot of misconceptions about. Even you'd think after all this time and effort, people in the goth community have tried to dispel the myths and the misconceptions and the stereotypes. It's like we're spinning our wheels in the mud.
Yeah, it's so weird. We have the internet, and people still don't understand that we're happy people, and we don't listen to Motionless in White or 21 Pilots or My Chemical Romance and stuff like that.
We're not in a corner, in a fetal position, cutting ourselves, reading Edgar Allan Poe nonstop, and too afraid to talk to anyone. Those aren't very accurate stereotypes of goths. Now, there are the mopey goths and the emos, which are not technically goths, and I'm sure we'll talk about that going forward. But
we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna piss people. Let me just say, and I think Caroline will agree with me here. We're probably gonna piss some people off.
Yeah.
We are going to be outspoken. But listen, If you disagree with us, there's a reason. There's a comment section below. And if you have a reasonable, well thought out counterpoint, we're open minded. I think, yeah, and we'll listen, we'll read it, and if you can convince us otherwise that we're in the wrong, I'd be happy to admit, hey, he had a great point, he or she, and hey, maybe I should change my view. I'd be happy to do that. But until that happens, we have our preconceived notions and views, and we're going to express them, and we're not going to be afraid to express them, and that's going to piss some people off. Because we are both outspoken.
Yeah, I don't care if people will say that my opinions are elitist or something like that. It's just my opinion, and I don't dictate your life or whatever. You can do whatever you want, but some things just need to be set straight. You can't just call anything goth.
Yes.
Like, you can't call this blanket goth just because I'm a goth and I own it. It doesn't work that way.
No. So, that's great. And as for me, I mean, ditto what you just said. Those are definitely topics I want to cover. Now, you're obviously going to cover some other things I obviously am not qualified to talk about. I'm sure when we talk about goth fashion, you're going to be talking about makeup and certain female fashion. And I'm sure there are many people who will be interested in your views on that. As for myself, I definitely be talking about some male fashion. As you can see, I am fairly stylish. Not,
Oh, yeah.
just saying. And also books like Raven Digital Atlas, Goth Craft, and other books like that. We're gonna talk about them, review them, give my thoughts. This book by Raven Digitalis, Goth Craft. This is an excellent book, and this is actually what inspired me to do this show. In fact, because it's a cross between paganism and the goth subculture, and it shows that there is a lot of crossover, and that's what made after this book. I was like, you know what, that would really make an interesting YouTube show. And if I could get someone cool like Caroline Carnivorous to host with me, that would be, we could have a lot of fun. And there is a lot of crossover between the goth subculture and the pagan, esoteric, paranormal subcultures.
Yeah.
As for the paranormal, what's your interest in that?
Well, paranormal per se, I'm not or I haven't really experienced many things like that, but I'm really interested in it. Like, I do like to listen to or read about people who have experienced things that are obviously not those stories you can just, no, that's just the wind. But like real stories.
Right.
Like, I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't experienced that many things myself. I am open to it, and within Wicca, I'm really interested in, for example, tarot. I've been reading to myself and close friends since I was 14, and I'm surprisingly good at it. That it's scary sometimes. That's
how it works. That's actually how it works. We'll definitely talk about our tarot experiences. I'm sure that could be a whole show in itself. I'm sure. Anyway, that's kind of thoughts for the show. The Gothic subculture, music, art, fashion, literature and such, and also pagan and esoteric topics as well. And I think it's going to be a good mesh. Now, as I said earlier, comment below if there's any specific topics or interests you specifically want us to address or review or look into or give our thoughts on, or Q&A. Just feel free to comment. That's what we are firm believers, as I mentioned earlier, of interaction with our viewers, and we will definitely always reply. And if you give us suggestions, we'll do our best to incorporate those in upcoming shows. Caroline, how can people find you if they want to reach out to you on social media or the pipes of the interwebs?
Well, recently I made kind of a goth lifestyle blog called Caroline Sometimes, after Charlotte Sometimes by The Cure. So that's carolinesometimes.blogspot.com. I have an Instagram, Carnivorous Makeup, and I also have a YouTube channel where I do crazy makeup and stuff like that. It's either Carnivorous Makeup or Caroline Carnivorous. I think both of them work. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And, of course, on Gothic Amino, I will be watching you.
Yes, she will. She will. And she'll stop you. No, just kidding, folks. Now, as for me, again, you can reach either one of us on the Twitter at goth_graveyard. If you want to reach out me directly, you can reach me at Salem Wizard Peter at gmail.com or on Facebook.com/Gothic Wizard, one big word. So, all these links and things will be below in the description as well to reach out to us. And finally, I just want to thank everyone for viewing this. I hope it's been interesting and informative and fun. We're hoping to be as well as informative as entertaining. I don't think we wanted this to be a very dry documentary style show. I think this is going to be fun. We're going to be drinking heavily, and we're gonna. It's good times, folks. Good times, and you're gonna love it here in the Gothic Graveyard Show. So, Caroline, thank you so much for being my host as well. I really appreciate that. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. And to the viewers, once again, thank you. Again, reach out to us through the Twitter or comment below. Let us know what you think, what you want to see. And finally, just to let everyone know, I'm not wearing any pants right now. That is how we do this show. So thank you once again for your support. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we will see you next episode, which will be every weekend. Follow us on Twitter for details. Thank you so much.